Well, welcome everyone to the Digital Signage Works podcast, episode 6.
Wow.
Amazing. We've made it this far. I'm Martin Lindsley.
I'm Robert Mullen.
Still around. Will he be here for episode 7? We'll find out.
We'll see how we do today.
So, Rob, I'm a little tired.
Yeah?
Yeah. Had a rough weekend.
Yeah, what'd you do this weekend?
Engine swap.
What do you mean by engine swap?
Swapped an engine.
You mean out of a car?
Out of a car, yeah. Yeah.
So I've always wondered, what do you do with the old engine after you do the swap?
You hope somebody takes it for scrap, or you strip it down of any good parts that are left on it and put it out in your yard, kind of like an ornament. Says,
okay.
I did something this weekend.
A bird bath.
Yeah. No, I think that's toilets you use for
Okay.
and flowers. At least if you're from New England. So, I did an engine swap. It was kind of fun. A lot of YouTube video watching.
Yeah?
A lot of going on forums, finding out how to do it. And, it's been a while since I've done one.
So did you go into this like not even knowing what an engine was, and you said, I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to watch YouTube, and then I'll know?
I've put oil in engines before, so I've been familiar with how they look.
Okay.
I've done a couple swaps before in a previous life.
Okay, did you replace the Johnson rod?
No, but the muffler bearings fell out all over the floor. It was a mess.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Okay, sounds great.
But yeah, that got me thinking, what about tech support for digital signage? We haven't really talked about that a whole lot. Some different aspects of that and what that could involve. Sometimes we're do-it-yourselfers. We want to take care of things on our own. And at other times, we just don't even want to bother. Maybe, I could have taken the car to a garage and had the engine swap done there. But no, I didn't. I wanted to give my kids the experience of getting greasy.
Oh, so you made them do the work?
I made them hold the phone while I was looking at YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
And also to call my friend who helped out considerably and without whom I would not have been able to get it done.
But you got it done, and the car is working fine,
It's
right?
out in the parking lot right now.
Oh, fantastic. And you're able to drive it, right? You didn't have it towed here.
Yeah, it wasn't towed here.
Okay.
But thanks for your confidence.
Well, I recognize a loophole when I see one.
So the same goes for digital signage.
Yes.
Tech support. You're going to need it.
Yeah, digital signage is kind of a fun thing because it looks very simple and straightforward, and it seems like it should be very easy to use. After all, it's just a picture on a TV screen,
Yeah,
right?
I use a TV at home all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy. You plug your PlayStation up to your TV, you're done.
Yeah, PS4 as the kids call it now.
Yeah, it's a PS4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Martin, you're pointing at the script here. I'm off script already.
You rambled.
I am rambling here.
So let's start off with this nice question you
Yeah.
were going to ask me. I'll let you ask the question.
Okay, what are some of the common tech support issues for digital signage?
Well, thanks for asking that very intelligent and well thought out question.
It went better in
Rob.
rehearsal, didn't it? Yeah.
So as far as common issues, that can go both ways. It can be something very simple, maybe just a setting on the TV, or it could go into firewall issues, permissions, something network related. So for the simple things, for instance, something, actually, you know what? Why don't we ask our audience, what do you think is the most common tech support question or problem that comes with digital signage?
So now you're making them call in or
Our lines
write
are
in.
lighting up.
Oh, yes. Look
Oh.
at that. It's flashing now. I can see it.
Well, that's because we have it on Do Not Disturb.
Oh.
We'll give
So,
you
but
10 seconds to think about it.
Can I talk?
10 seconds.
Okay, now I can talk. So, yeah, that is a very good question. So you have your digital signage. It's been hooked up, and you may have already enjoyed it already. It's been working great, right? So something happens. For you, Martin, and people call into you all the time, what do you find them talking about when they call in?
Well, I would say probably the number one survey answer to the question is my screen is blank. Not like fill in the blank, but it's blank. Black, there's no content out on the screen. That's usually, I'd say probably 80% of any tech support issue starts with that. My screens aren't working, they're blank. So some things that you could look for very simply, and a lot of times these get overlooked because you're so used to your signage just plugging away, doing what it's supposed to, and then all of a sudden, hey, the TV is not working. Obviously, check to make sure the power's on. Some TVs have a light indicator that shows if the screen is in has power to it or not, might
Right.
light up red or something like that. It could be that the screen is turned off, but you don't realize that because the indicator light isn't on. That can be deactivated through the user menu. So just double check that there's actually power going to the screen, the TV is turned on. Another thing that could be the case is sometimes maybe the evening staff or somebody wants to try to watch a game. They see a TV. Yeah, it's digital signage, but let me go try to change channels or inputs, see if it's hooked up to cable, something like that. So they might have left the TV on the wrong input, and so it could be that the digital signage player itself is working fine. It's chugging out all the content, but it's not getting to the screen because the input on the actual TV needs changed. So
yeah.
some very simple things, and at times that can be the issue.
Well, how do you fix that? Do you have to have the remote or something?
Your remote, you can even, if you want to go archaic, use your finger, and there's probably a button on the TV you can push, the power button. So, and that is something at times that you need to do, is just go up and you might have to actually physically turn on the TV or cycle through the inputs just to make sure that there's some type of signal that's getting out to the TV.
Okay.
So there you have it, as far as that goes. Another issue could be some type of network problem.
Well, that's a big one, isn't it? Because
It can be.
the player could work fine, the software can work fine, everything's set up properly, but then somewhere down the line, the network gets messed up. Either the internet provider or maybe your IT staff get in there and change your network on a fundamental level there.
Right, and because digital signage is just kind of working, a lot of times it's forgotten that, that's part of the network. So somebody may go in and change out maybe a router or some other type of switch, network switch, something like that. Even it could be something as simple as installing new firewall or new antivirus. And that can gum up the whole works because now the players don't have permission to go out and access the content. So they're looking all around for where to go, and they're unable to pull in that new content. And so then tech support gets a call, hey, my screens won't update, my screens are down, what's the problem? And then you have to go in and find out that, it's actually must be somewhere back on your network. Have you had something recently replaced? Maybe somebody brought in a new computer, hooked something else up to the network, and that could be taking some of those resources or even changing settings on your network and creating issues that way.
In fact, I had a client that had a very similar situation to that. It was a hotel client, and they were having a great time with the digital signage. It worked great for about 3 weeks. And then on a Friday afternoon, boom, just like that, it stopped working. No new updates, no content was getting through, nothing was happening. What's going on? Well, long story short, because there was a lot of tech support and investigating going on, corporate had changed the IT settings globally for the hotels and did not take into account the digital signage at this hotel because it was a new installation and they weren't aware of it yet. So they did not take into account the permissions that the signage would need. So they were locked out of the firewall. So once that was discovered, it was an easy fix and we're good to go.
Yeah, and that sometimes it's usually the thing that presents itself as a symptom is my signage isn't working, but the actual cause could be a number of things besides the actual signage player or even the TV itself. It could be way back down the line, something else that has happened, and the part that actually shows itself is, hey, my stuff's not working. And so that's where, as a digital signage company dealing with tech support, you have to have kind of a tough skin.
Yes.
Because it comes to you as, hey, your stuff's not working, and you have to help sometimes go back through and trace, where actually is the weakest link. A little old TV reference there.
Or guilty until proven innocent.
That could be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Very nice.
So what areas of expertise are needed for handling these tech support issues?
So again, with digital signage, because it's such a conglomeration of all these different parts and pieces coming together to make it look very simple out on the screen, we have things such as the hardware and software end of it. You could have hardware difficulties at some point. Maybe there's a player failure, something like that. Could be maybe with the software, there's some type of bug that needs, or even settings within the software itself that the end user might not be aware of or might have accidentally clicked on, done something that is affecting what's going out on the screen. So you need to be versed in hardware, software, and that would include even different TV models. There's different settings, different features that go with different TVs depending on what the client has. If they haven't purchased that TV from the digital signage vendor, who knows, that TV model has not been tested with their product, and there may be certain things that have to be looked at there and tweaked. We already talked about networking a little bit, so you have to have a knowledge of networking and how things are able to talk to each other and be able to check for connectivity, look for permissions issues, security settings, things along that line.
Very helpful. It's nice to be able to, say, hook up a laptop to the Cat 5 and know if you're able to get access to the internet or access to your own network and troubleshoot that way.
That's right. Can you ping the player?
Can you ping the player? Indeed.
Can you ping the server? Can you communicate with them? So you have that. Also, with some digital signage, it ties in to databases and pulls that information automatically, shows it out on the screen. And at times there could be an issue with the database or even in how the database information is being pulled in and manipulated to be able to show out on your content. So you have to have working knowledge of select statements, things like that, so that you're able to get in and assess if there's any data errors or something that's not quite showing up right, figure out where that problem is.
Yeah, with databases, it could be multiple types of databases. Something like a SQL database or an Oracle database, those are pretty robust and pretty strong as far as how the data is stored. But if you're pulling from an Excel sheet, someone could go in there and move columns or delete something accidentally, and that could mess up everything.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with Excel because that's very commonly used and out there, but it also has a lot of quirks and things that you really have to know about to understand how it works and how the Microsoft end of things works in order to be able to pull data from that. And even though it can be done, and we think of maybe getting into SQL or Oracle, like you mentioned, that might be a little more robust, but even though Excel may be easier on the end user at first, to actually tie in with your digital signage content to an Excel sheet also offers its own challenge. So you have to be able to be versatile in
either one. Yes.
Okay, all right, in all those areas. And then, of course, training. Because we go back to the software aspect of it. Sometimes it's just, hey, you need to click this, select this, click save, publish here, and have to talk a client through being able to do some of those things to be able to rectify whatever issue they might be having out on their screen. It could be a layering issue with the content, maybe the scheduling's off, something like that. So, it's a whole mishmash, if you want to say, of talents and skills that you need to acquire.
Now, Martin, you just said a whole bunch of stuff that will scare a lot of people away from digital signage. They're going to think, I'm going to have to be a freaking expert on everything under the sun in order. First, I have to know how the TV works. I have to know how everything is installed. I have to know what Cat 5 and networking is, and I have to know what databasing is. That's all. That's a lot. It takes a long time just to say all that.
It's kind of like doing an engine swap.
I guess it is. So you need to have your kids help you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you could, as long as your kids are useful in that manner. But that brings up an interesting question, because you can do a lot of this yourself. There's some very common things, like we already talked about, that you could troubleshoot your digital signage with. And, some people are okay with doing that. They don't mind rolling up the sleeves and getting their hands dirty, as it were. But, if that scares you off as far as having to deal with tech support for digital signage, well, then make sure your digital signage provider offers you tech support packages.
Right.
That's something that will prove invaluable. And that could be something as simple as, do they offer phone support, email support? Maybe they have a forum. That's helpful. You can go on the forum, see what other users have posted, maybe find some common issues or workarounds, things of that nature. Also, tutorial videos. That's huge, is just being able to go on YouTube and look up, hey, how do I publish out content? Oh, okay, great. Here's a video on how to use that software, and you can follow right along. A lot of times that's preferred. I know, for me, if I have to call somebody to get tech support help, that's kind of like my last resort. A lot of times
Right.
I'd like to be able to, okay, well, can I figure this out on my own? If I don't have time, or if it's something that's mission critical, okay, then I don't mind getting on the phone. But nowadays, a lot of things can be handled without actually having to talk to a person. Maybe there's a customer portal that is available where you can just log into your account, submit a trouble ticket or a case, and be able to get some help that way.
Right, and YouTube, as you mentioned earlier, is a great resource. It's the information age, so even if you know nothing about any of the stuff we talked about, you can get up to speed if you want to on your own, or like you said, just call your tech support team and have them do the work for you.
Right. And it's important to make sure you know what level of tech support you've signed up for with your digital signage provider. You want to make sure, do you need 24/7 tech support? Are you in a facility that's going to be open around the clock, and at any moment, if you need tech support, you want to be able to get somebody on the phone, have access to somebody, make sure that type of package is there, available for you, even training, things of that nature. Just really investigate what comes with your tech support that you're getting. And the reason why is because there's nothing worse than, maybe you're in a sports facility or something, it's over the weekend, something's gone haywire. Well, we have to wait till Monday during regular business hours to get this fixed, and it could be, affecting your concession stands or, some other type of deal with your industry that you want to make sure you have the support team in place. So if you don't have the ability to run around and take care of these things, you can have a team that will support you and handle that.
Great.
So if you'd like to learn more about digital signage tech support, we have a nice blog article. It's on noventry.com/blog/tech support must. As in tech support, good tech support is a must for digital signage. So you can check that out on our blog. And Rob,
we'll put that in the show notes so they don't have to write that down. Okay.
Why don't we have you do that, since I did most of the talking?
Oh, okay.
You can do the show notes this
all right,
time.
very good. And we'll have Emily do all the transcribing for us.
There you go.
Yes.
So we don't have to listen to ourselves again.
That's right.
I'm always up for that. So
Emily works with us.
very good. So again, digital signage doesn't have to be as complicated as swapping out an engine. And if you have a good team behind you, a good support team, everything can go and flow smoothly, and you'll have minimal interruptions using your digital signage.
Sounds good.
All right.
I was going to have a funny thing to say in there, but you kind of said it already, so you said it perfectly. So
I said something funny? Oh,
yeah, you
okay,
said
I
it
missed
great.
it.
Yes.
All right, well, very good. So if you've enjoyed listening to our podcast, again, please subscribe. We're also available on iTunes and other podcast providers.
Right. And if you find that we're not on your provider, let us know, and we'll work that out.
All right, thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Have a good night. And a good day and a good evening.